In big urban areas, we are constantly surrounded by massive retail chains and businesses. Amongst themselves, they compete to become the best in different aspects. However, in rural areas, it's a different story. These big businesses struggle to reach their target customers, leaving a gap in the market. This is where Dollar General comes in. They've adopted a business model that specifically turned the competitive disadvantage of these large chains into their own advantage. In this video, we will dive deeper into Dollar General's strategies. Let's look at a few strategic models. First, Porter's notion of position and fit. Dollar General positions itself in rural and low-income areas where access to big retail chains is limited. They offer a small selection of essential goods at discounted prices, and they don't directly compete with big supply chains. Dollar General thrives in rural towns where larger stores can't replicate the same level of efficiency or accessibility. Next, let's talk about fit. Dollar General's business model is built on operational efficiency. They offer a limited range of goods which reduces complexity and the cost of operations. The small inventory allows them to keep expenses low. They operate with minimal staff members, and their store sizes tend to be extremely small. This overall lowers their operational costs. Let's now look at the broader competitive landscape through the lens of Porter's 5 forces. This will help us understand Dollar General's position relative to other factors that might impact its success. First, the risk of new entrants is low to moderate. It's difficult for larger traditional supply chains to replicate Dollar General's success in rural areas, mainly due to their inability to match the operational efficiency and the cost structure Dollar General has mastered. Additionally, the logistics and infrastructure needed to serve remote locations can be a major deterrent to new entrants. Next, let's look at the bargaining power of buyers. In rural and low-income areas, consumers have limited alternatives. Most Dollar General customers have no other convenient and affordable options. With no nearby competition, the bargaining power of buyers is very minimal. The risk of substitution is low to moderate. While traditional supply chains like Walmart offer a wider range of products, they tend to be expensive and less accessible in rural areas. The rise of online shopping could be a potential substitute, but in many remote areas, reliable internet and delivery services is still limited. The bargaining power of suppliers is low. Dollar General has immense bargaining power with suppliers due to the sheer volume of goods it purchases. With thousands of stores nationwide, Dollar General can negotiate favorable terms with suppliers, especially for essential and common products that are available from multiple manufacturers. Rivalry between competitors is low to moderate. In rural areas, there aren't that many direct competitors to Dollar General, which allows them to establish a solid foothold. However, competition does increase in urban areas where the traditional big box retailers like Walmart and Target have more presence. Despite this, Dollar General still holds an edge in those remote communities where larger chains struggle to operate efficiently. Now, let's apply the VRIO framework to analyze Dollar General's resources and capabilities. First, valuable. Dollar General fills a crucial gap left by larger supply chains providing affordable, essential products where other retailers cannot. They add immense values to communities they serve, especially in rural areas. Secondly, what makes them rare? They operate in a niche market with very few competitors who can offer the same combination of low prices, limited selection, and accessibilities in these rural and underserved regions. Not many businesses can replicate this model and remain profitable. What makes them inevitable? While the concept of discount retailing is not unique, Dollar General's particular model focuses on rural locations, low cost, and limited selection. This has proven difficult for competitors to replicate. Their scale of operations and logistical efficiencies make it challenging to mimic. What makes them so organized? Dollar General is highly organized. Their supply chain, logistics, and store management systems are streamlined to ensure the business runs efficiently and at a low cost. The infrastructure supports their low-cost business model. In conclusion, we can assess Dollar General's internal and external merits. Internally, they generate profit where others lack through their strategy with minimal expensive, and externally, they fill in the gaps left by big supply chains by becoming an accessible retail provider in these rural areas.
In today's evolving retail landscape, businesses must consider to influence on social and cultural environments factor when implementing new changes. For Dollar General, staying competitive requires more than just affordability, it requires adaptability, responsibility, and innovation. First of all, there's increasing awareness of labor rights and fair wages. All across the country, there are major concerns on low wages and poor working conditions. Workers are advocating for better pay, improved benefits, and safer environments. Therefore, if Dollar General doesn't address these concerns, there are a risk of negative press and high labor strikes. These disruptions could impact the company's advantage. So, Dollar General must need to raise wages, enhance working conditions, or invest in automation to balance labor expenses. This ties directly to equity theory, which suggests that employees are more motivated when they are treated fairly in the workplace. Workers compare their effort, which is known as the input, such as skills, working hours, and performance, to the reward they receive, like pay, benefit, and recognition. If Dollar General fails to maintain fair balance in equity theory, the employee dissatisfaction could decrease productivity rates. Number two, healthier food options in rural areas. There is growing demand and concern among consumers for healthier food replacements option in rural areas. Consumers and policymakers are advocating for access to fresh produce to healthier food choices. To meet these demands, Dollar General must expand their product selection to include more fresh and organic items. While this could increase cost, it also presents opportunity to attract broader customer base and enhance the company's reputation and to see that they're more considerate. Number three, crime and safety concerns in low income areas. Lastly, there are wide connections between discount retailers and the crime rates in low income community. Areas suggest that stores like Dollar General are more in those high crime area rates. Retailers where struggling communities may experience increased crime, putting both customers and employees at risk. To address this, Dollar General must face pressure from local governments and legal contributions to invest in stronger security measures. This could mean increased spending on security, surveillance camera, which potentially reduces profitability but improves public trust and safety. Now talking about the cultural environment. In addition to social factors, cultural environment changes are also shaping retail industry. For Dollar General, it is important that they are adapting to consumer values, embracing digital growth, and addressing demographic trends will be essential for long-term success. Number one, changing consumer preferences and ethical shopping trends. Today's consumers, especially the younger generations, are highly prioritizing ethics and social responsibility when choosing where to shop. They prefer companies that promote fair wages, sustainability, and community support. To meet these expectations, Dollar General may need to take in consideration its corporate social responsibility, which is CSR. This could involve improving labor practices, such as offering fair wages and better working conditions, investing in sustainability sourcing, such as eco-friendly packaging or locally sourced products, or supporting community initiatives to build a stronger local concerns. You may ask, so what exactly is corporate social responsibility? There are two main approaches: cosmetic CSR, which is public relations gestures such as charity donations to enhance the company's image, or strategic at CSR. This involves embedding ethical practices into core business model, such as profitability, sustainability, and benefit for both company and society. If Dollar General fails to demonstrate meaningful CSR practices, it risks losing customers to more ethical competitors, damaging its reputation and its market share. To sum up, as the retail landscape continues to evolve, adapting to social and cultural changes will be essential for Dollar General's long term success. This can be done by addressing labor rights and fair wages, promoting healthier product options, and enhancing store safety. In result, the company can build stronger relationships with employees and customers alike. Ultimately, adapting to cultural shift will be critical for Dollar General's continued success.
Moving on to our group's insight. When we first analyzed Dollar General, it seemed like a company that simply fills a gap in the low income rural areas that bigger retailers ignore. But after identifying key strategic framework, a different picture emerged. That is, Dollar General business model is not just purely driven by cost efficiency, but capitalizes on systematic market failures, including food deserts, wage stagnation, and poor transportation. So, how did we come up with this insight? Based on Porter's position and fit, We saw that Dollar General's success is deeply tied to its positioning in an underserved area where larger grocery chains have little to no presence. Therefore, by offering a limited range of essential products, it becomes a necessity rather than a choice, catering to the basic needs of community that lack access to full-service retailers. In fact, Dollar General presence does not resolve food insecurity, but rather exploits it by offering non-perishable items instead of fresh food. Its motto harmed the local economy by forcing small, independent grocery stores out of business, as they are unable to compete with the low prices, wages, and limited overhead costs. As a result, communities are left with fewer, if any, fresh food options. The five forces review why it faces little competition. For buyers, Dollar's general pricing strategy targets cash-strapped consumers who can't afford bulk purchases. This encourages frequent return visits and increases overall spending. This is called the poverty premium effect, where low-income consumers end up spending more per unit due to the lack of affordable alternatives. As a result, wage stagnation becomes a bigger issue, especially in low-income areas, as the store presence reinforces the cycle of low wages. For competitors, Dollar General has a monopoly effect on the region it operates. By placing stores in locations without strong infrastructure, it becomes the default shopping option. This allows Dollar General to operate as a monopoly in towns too small to attract larger competitors. So, after analyzing our insights, we want to point out a few future risks that Dollar General needs to consider if it wants to maintain a competitive advantage, as outlined by the Virile framework. These risks include: first, increasing government restrictions on dollar store expansion, like those seen in Tulsa and New Orleans. Second, potential policy changes that address food deserts, raise wages, or improve public transportation, which could erode Dollar General's current advantages. Third, the risk of becoming obsolete as economic conditions improve and communities become more self sufficient. Fourth, negative public perception, which could harm Dollar General's reputation and reduce customer loyalty.
Our proposal, potential market entry. Building on these insights, we recognize that Dollar General's current strategy, while effective in the short term, may not be sustainable in the long run due to regulatory pressure and shifting community needs. Therefore, to mitigate the future risks mentioned above, we propose that Dollar General expand its existing business model by introducing a fresh food component into select stores. Unlike full-service supermarkets like Walmart, they may be hesitant to enter low-income areas due to low profit margins. Dollar General already has a strong presence in these regions, giving it a head start to tap into this niche. We recommend that Dollar General launch a new store format called DG Fresh Market. While Dollar General has traditionally relied on low-cost, low-overhead models to keep prices down, it can still maintain this competitive advantage while introducing fresh food offerings through several operational strategies. One being local sourcing. The company can partner with regional food distributors or local farmers to source fresh produce more efficiently and at lower transportation costs. Rather than relying solely on national supply chains, this would reduce transportation costs and offer fresher produce at lower prices. Method number 2, limited selection. Dollar General can focus on adding high-demand fresh food items such as produce, dairy, and meat, ensuring quick turnover by offering products that are essential to local communities. This approach helps reduce waste, optimize inventory, and keep prices affordable. 3, store layout. Dollar General can design stores with small, energy-efficient refrigeration units and minimal shelving for fresh food to optimize space, which in turn maximizes product offerings without wasting space. And finally, existing logistics network. Finally, Dollar General can leverage its existing logistics network, which already services over 19,000 stores. As more stores adopt fresh food, economies of scale will help mitigate the cost of cold chain logistics. This strategic move of incorporating fresh food offerings into its existing models would allow Dollar General to better cater to underserved communities, adapt to policy changes, and enhance its public image by addressing food insecurity rather than exploiting it. Above all, the success and profitability of the company heavily depends on its positioning in the eyes of the public. Therefore, Dollar General must reshape its public brand image to be favored by consumers who value affordability and social responsibility. This can be achieved through marketing efforts that emphasize its commitment to social good, such as sourcing products from local farmers, donating to food banks, or limiting product markups. While these efforts can hurt profitability in the short run, they will help the company reach a greater customer base and drive customer loyalty. In particular, the idea of limiting product markup while lowering profitability on each singular sale will increase sales volume through customer loyalty and additional customers who gravitate towards the brand due to its affordability measures. All in all, this business model has the potential to significantly enhance Dollar General's brand by diversifying its offerings and expanding its customer base. By embracing local sourcing, limited selections, and efficient store layouts, Dollar General can maintain its cost advantage while addressing growing consumer demand for healthier, more sustainable products.